In the Buxton team we operate two vehicles. This first one being the Landrover is our first operational vehicle and goes on nearly every job we're ever called to. We use the Landrover basically to get us off-road, that little bit further than you can get by the end of a tarmac track, but we rarely actually go much onto the actual moors themselves. We tend to stay on farm tracks and forestry tracks, that sort of thing. But the Landrover, very useful. No great modifications to the vehicle itself. Still the standard Landrover, and this one's been in operation since January early this year. The other vehicle we run is a transit minibus, basically for getting the team members round from the rendezvous site to the nearest access point onto the hills wherever we're actually operating. I'll try and show you around the bus. Like I say, there's no major modifications to it. Inside is our communications. We've got radio links with the police and the ambulance directly, as well as our own internal communications, radios to all the teams in the Peak District and to our own team members, of course. Cell phones and that sort of thing, as normally you'd expect. Other than that, standard Landrover in the front. Like I say, this is the one that turns out to every job. This is the one that will take 4 or 5 people and all the kit as near to the casualty site as we can get it. That's its primary function. I'll run you around the back. And the inside's well equipped. It might appear to be a little bit everything stuffed in, but everything really does have its place, right place to live, and that way we know if we've ever lost anything. All the stuff on the right hand side is the first operation emergency equipment, so that's like the first aid tattle, oxygen, Entonox, which we'll be using on 95% of our casualties, and then behind that some casualty care equipment, basically tent, splints, that sort of thing, where we can just look after the casualty until the rest of the team members are getting there. Some of the bigger bags, this one is what we call a vacuum mattress, basically a full-length body splint that we can lie the casualty in, and then we suck the air out of it, and that actually makes a rigid box almost, and a full-length splint. It's great for sort of hips and lower leg fractures, immobilisation of them. So the other big bag at the back is a casualty bag, a glorified sleeping bag if you like, but it's fibre pile lined, so it's instantly warm as soon as somebody's wrapped in it. So it's nice and warm to the touch even on the coldest days. And the rest of it, a lot of crag rescue equipment, which we need quite handy. Well, we don't get too many crag incidents in the Peak, but we have to be well practiced for that odd incident every year where we got somebody stranded actually on a crag face, or somebody that's perhaps trapped on the steeper parts of Mamtor or the Kinder areas. Underneath, basically ropes. It's amazing how much rope you can use on a crag incident, and the necessary anchor points and that sort of thing that would want to set up the belays. On the roof, this side is the stretcher and also a backboard. It's all carried up there on a rack which we can slide off and unload quite easily without anybody having to climb onto the roof itself. And on this one, the sort of pod you'd obviously see carrying skis and that sort of thing. That one would carry all the rest of the equipment that we perhaps want to use on a search where we've got to issue kit to individual sections, so if that section happens to find a casualty, they can make them comfortable until the rest of the primary gear gets to them.